Hey there, welcome to the Mountain of God. My name is Kamil. Today is 24th of May 2021. Welcome to video number 34. Today I want to talk about your Tower of Solitude. I want to talk about prayer. Because as far as I can see, a lot of times, especially when you're a new Christian, you enter this whole world of Christianity and someone tells you, you've got to read Bible and pray. And you don't have issues with reading Bible because just opening the book and read it. But when it comes down to prayer, many times we don't really know what does it even mean. How do I supposed to start? So I just enter the room and do what? Do I talk just to say, or do I listen? Do I don't pray? Do I praise? Meaning, do I read a verse in the Bible? What do I how do I supposed to do this? Listen, there's a tons of great things you'll discover in here, but we've got to start with the basics. Before we're even going to go to explaining what does really praying means and how it looks like, I want you to build yourself an environment that will allow you to do it efficiently. Because let's say it straight, the same thing happens when you want to work out, do some exercises. When you go to the gym, you don't want to go there and basically try to look for things. You end up one exercise and then you say, okay, so where was the running thing? Where's the heavy lifting station? No. When you're in the zone, you want to be able to do what you want to do, what you came here for, and don't think about technicalities. That's why the first thing that you have to be able to build is your own environment. That's why, and I've got some notes here because I've got a lot of things to say, but I don't want to miss anything. First thing that I want you to concentrate on is to build or find your own place that you're going to pray. And I would really strongly suggest that will be the same place every time. Because you see, one thing that it's so much easier to do in the long run, exactly as with your gym. You basically go there, you know where everything is, so you don't have to think. You just go on autopilot. The same thing here. I want you to be able to get so familiarized with the place where you pray and build your own, praying closet that you'll be able to enter the room and automatically, kind of from a psychological point of view, be able to just jump into it right away. And that will happen if you have the same place over and over again used for your time that you're going to spend with your Father. Additional thing goes to equipment. That's why gyms were built. You exactly know that close to that section there'll be equipment used for that particular, part of muscles or type of exercise. The same thing here. If you know that you're going to pray not for 15 minutes, but for an hour or something, you would want to have your tea or coffee or your water with you. The same thing, maybe it's going to get cold, maybe it's going to get warm. So you want to have your blanket with you or some clothes so you'll be able to put on yourself. You don't want to, in the middle of everything, just run in your house and search for something to cover yourself because it got cold. You want to stay in the zone for the whole period of time that you will be spending praying. Again, building your environment to make this whole thing a smooth experience. Additional thing, you want this thing to be quiet for obvious reasons. If you're working remotely right now, and so many of us start doing this because of the whole lockdowns and so on, you know how annoying and how distracting it might be when your children running around, when your husband or your wife wants something from you, when your neighbor is doing some renovations. You cannot concentrate. The same thing here. You want this place to be quiet. You want this thing to be a secluded place, and the same time, probably it's gonna be a good idea to do it in secluded time, which is early in the morning or late in the evening. And you see, that's why I would suggest for you to kind of figure out what is the best time for you, and I would keep the same time every day. I did pray in the morning, which I do right now, But I had times that I prayed in evenings, and it's just a matter of prepare yourself, because everything has its pros and cons. If you're praying in the evening, you might find yourself being tired after the whole day, and you may find yourself sometimes being so tired that you just do it because you have to, not because you've got a fresh mind to do it. But the same thing can happen in the morning. If you go to bed really late, then waking up in the morning might be problematic as well. But you want to make this a habit. You want this thing to happen the same place, we're ready with all the equipment, in a quiet time, so you would not be distracted. So that's why you turn off your phone, and you don't want, at least in my case, I don't even want any visual distractions. I don't want my eyes to be distracted by what I see. So many times I pray in the darkness. So that's why I switch off the light, I cover the windows, and many times I just pray in the early morning before the day starts. Because there's a quiet, because no one's running around. None of my neighbors, every one of them is still asleep. And even the city many times is asleep. And that's perfect. Many times in the winter there's a great time, because at least in Poland or in this part of Europe when I am, it's going to be like 3 or maybe 4 p.m. in the winter months, when it's going to get dark really, real quickly. Perfect time that you're still fresh relatively, and you're able to pray. So again, build yourself an environment. Give yourself a place, give yourself time, and deal with all of those stuff that might distract you and take you out of the zone, so you'll be able to spend time with your Father. Additional thing that I want to talk about is, it's time. I talked about doing this at the same moment in time. That's very important, because it's gonna build a habit, and then it won't be like ripped out part of your day. Something in the morning, the next day in the evening. If you keep the same period of time, it's gonna become part of your day. And it's going to be much easier, especially if you do it in the same place, it's going to be much easier to just get into the zone. Because if you prayed one morning, like in my case, then the next day in the morning, you just feel like you're continuing things that already happened. It's the same place, the same time, nothing is new really. So it becomes so much easier to get into this flow. So I talked about the time of day, but one additional thing regarding time, amazing and I really highly suggest that. Don't put yourself in a situation when you're gonna have, listen, Dad, I've got like 15 minutes, let's do this quickly. You want to give yourself enough time to pray, enough time to deal with all of this, so you will not have to hurry. But then you want to give yourself even more time. Why? Because you see, many times you've got some time slot selected for the praying time. And sometimes you're going to finish at the end, more or less. You're going to say, oh, cool, everything's fine. But trust me, there'll be tons of situations. The more you're going to go into it, the more you're going to start experiencing things, the more you'll learn how to talk to your Father. You experience times when you're gonna go much longer than what you started. You're gonna do much more. You want to stay much longer, just because what's going on, just because the discussion goes, and I'm learning, and he's talking to me, and I don't want to stop. So that's why what I do when I pray in the morning, I end my time slot ends an hour before I have to start working. And it happened many times that I prolong this for another X amount of time. Let's say 40 minutes later, I can feel that now I feel that we talked about everything I wanted. Or I say, Dad, we're going wild today, but in 20 minutes I've got to start working, so let me just stop it here and then come back to that later, that day or tomorrow. And I prayed for so long, and then I still got 20 minutes to prepare and to start work. At that exactly the time that I'm supposed to start it. So I'm giving myself enough time and even more not to feel that I'm in hurry, not to feel that I won't have enough time to give him to talk to me, to answer my questions. Because I had these situations when I just came, I said what I wanted to say, just because I've got like 30 minutes and I gotta go. And then I said, okay, Dad, what do you think about it? Any comments about it? Tell me something. And I heard that a few times. He said, say, come back to me when you'll have time to talk about it. I was like, okay. And then later that day, when we continued talking about the subject, I said, sorry, Dad, now I've got unlimited time. So what do you think about it? And he took me for an hour on 90 minutes conversation when he explained this, explained that. And he showed me depths of the subject that we talked about, because the whole idea behind it, helping you grow, is not to, in 5 minutes tell you what you have to do and just, go and do it. No, many times you'll figure out that he'll spend a prolonged amount of times to explain to you things, so you would see the broader picture. So then you would be able to make a right decision based on the knowledge and understanding you got, not based on what he told you to do because you had no time. That's how smart he is. So again, give yourself time to pray every day, and give yourself time, and even more, to not to hurry, not to feel that there's not enough time. So that's point number 2 about time. Now, so many people are still having issues like, so how do I even start? What do I say? What do I do? You see, let me tell you what I do. I get up in the morning, like early in the morning, and the first thing I do, I just enter my praying closet, and I say, hey, Dad, I'm here again. And I'm just start talking to him like I would speak to one of my friends. I say, listen, this is what happened. This is what surprised me. You know what happened to me yesterday? You know what I heard? And I just, tell him exactly what I feel. I don't use some litany. I don't use some learned by heart prayers, which means nothing to me. I just open my heart, just tell him what I want. And interestingly enough, if you start to do this, you will start to see that there's so much you can do during this time. Sometimes it's just gonna be you talking about things that you feel, just venting out, just letting yourself go. Telling it's going to be like some kind of therapy session, and he'll be there, he'll listen. And if you give him time, he'll answer you, he'll start talking to you and asking you questions, and help you to go much deeper in the things that you're struggling with. Sometimes it's just going to be a discussion. You're going to just drop one thing, and you're going to start talking, you're going to spend X amount of minutes or hours talking about things, and he'll explain to you things. It's amazing how much you can learn. Sometimes you're just gonna get there and just gonna sit in silence. Sometimes what you need is just to be with him, knowing and feeling that he's here, saying nothing. Sometimes you're just gonna be there just to feel this supernatural peace that he'll give you when you're sitting in his presence. This is what you learn straight away. Peace, quiet, feeling that everything is fine and everything will be fine, because he is having it under control. It's amazing how you mimic, how you mirror his own being, which is never, anxious. He's never angry. He's just there because everything is under control. Always. And then you start to see that maybe you want to, maybe you're an intercessor, maybe you want to pray about things, about people, and you'll just feel that that's the right moment just to switch, and you'll say, listen, I feel that this person is on my mind, on my heart. I want to bless this person. And then you just start blessing this person in your own language. Maybe you're going to switch to gift of tongues and go wild in the spirit. Maybe you're just going to bless people. You can do whatever you want because you start without any expectation, without some checklist that you have to do. No, you just follow your heart and let spirit and yourself and him kind of direct it to the place or time or experience that he wants you to be led to. That's that simple. The other thing is that, let me see, we've got, yeah, you may even go towards warfare. You'll start to see how things will change when you go in intercession and it changes to warfare. That's for those of you who are spiritual warriors. You'll start to see that it may start with a simple discussion or simple just, simple opening, Dad, how are you today? And then you will end up fighting for something or someone. They're going to be experiences that we're going to talk about in a minute, that you'll see the prolonged period of times being in this kind of state. It's amazing. And one of amazing things I loved to do, and I love to do until today, sometimes there are not many situations like this, but there were a few when I felt anxious, when I felt to some degree fearful because I was stressing about things that's supposed to happen or were happening. And in that time, I love to switch to this worship/warfare mode, when I just go against everything I feel, everything that's happening, and I start saying, Dad, this thing is happening, but one thing that I do care is that you have everything under control. I don't care what I see, I don't care what I feel, and I want to praise you that you never lose control, that you're here to bless me, that you're here to help me, and I can trust you because you never failed, and you never will. And I'm just going wild towards this worship and this kind of worship/warfare thing. And you will be surprised how fast it works, how amazing results are. And I don't remember any situation that me going against with faith and with trust and with worship, that the things would not be sorted out. Many times you will feel his hands on your shoulders and you know that everything is going to be fine. That's why you can just really, blast praise, because that's how warfare many times is done. So many things can happen, and there are probably additional types of prayer that you can do, but everything's, if you are open enough just to say what you feel, you will get wherever you want to get, wherever you need to get. That's why you have enough time. You don't have to hurry. A few things that will happen in your prayer life when you have your praying closet built and well functioning. You'll start to see that you'll spend enough time to deal with your own stuff, that you have this whole thing sorted out because of the amount of time you spend with your Father, that there will be a situation when just in the middle of the day, you'll just feel this like a hit, like a very, very vivid thought about someone or something. And you would know this is the time to pray. And then interestingly enough, when you give yourself permission to do that, you just, pause everything and just go pray, you'll start to see how intercession works. You'll start to see how this whole thing works, because you spend enough time to have this open communication working both ways with your Father. Now he can use you to really bless others, to solve problems right there on the spot when it's needed. That's an amazing thing. And some of you who are intercessors, you understand how you are woke up in the middle of the night. And that happens a lot. And then you'll start to see what kind of blessing you have, what kind of intense praying time it is when you wake up and you just get up of your own bed and just go to pray. Do what you feel you're supposed to do. So let me see. Yeah, there, as I said, there'll be times when you'll have a prolonged time of prayer because you have a burden for something or someone. And that's one of additional experiences that you will take and partake in, if I can look at it as a project, in your praying closet. And that's going to be amazing time, because you will start to see how he does things for a long period of time. And you'll see after finishing this period of time of praying, that you'll see that something happened, or you feel that that the problem is fixed in your spirit. Then you're going to look back and see, wow, last 2 weeks are really intensive. That's how he'll teach you new things, experiencing different things. Something's going to happen just in a moment to pray for someone, and then something's going to take you, prolonged time. And you'll discover so many things, how God wants to use you, and everything's going to happen there in your praying closet. An additional thing is fasting. There's no better way to gather this whole energy that you build every day talking with your Father than laser focusing it for this specific time, for this specific thing, or this specific person. Whenever something goes wrong, you feel that you need something more, some bigger guns, fast. No meeting with people, no food, just your glass of water in your praying time for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, how long you need. You'll see how God will start talking to you, how it's going to be such overload with blessings, such overload with the information, you're going to be surprised. Fasting, something to think about. And one additional thing that I really never heard anyone talking about it, but I experienced it many times, and I want to tell you because it might be helpful. Many times that let's say it's Friday evening, I have a free evening, have nothing to do, I just thought about going to cinema or just meeting with my friends, or just Netflixing, doing something completely mindless. And then out of nowhere I feel that God is summoning me. He wants me to go to pray. And trust me, there are situations when I feel, oh, come on, I just wanted to have some time for myself. But you see, the amazing thing is that whenever I decided to go for it, the reward was exponentially higher than the enjoyment that I would have from things that I planned. Many times, especially when I have to sacrifice things that I really cared for and wanted to happen, the reward was crazy. There was very intense time. Many times I prophesied, many times I heard things and learned things that were shocking. That's why when you feel that, give yourself permission to sacrifice it. You'll never regret it. So you see, putting this whole thing in one bundle, putting it all into one, I want you to understand that building your praying closet and giving yourself this tower of solitude, some place that you can lock yourself without any distractions, just spend your time with your Father and give it more time that you need, will change the way you look at yourself, you look at Christianity, church, world, Him, eternity, everything. Why? Because one thing you'll understand when you start doing this over and over, it's going to be, when it's become your habit, you'll start to see that very shortly after you started, you'll be able to enter this room, and it's going to take you more time to think what you want to talk about. It's going to take you more time for this than to feel His presence. Because everything is going to be familiar. You've been here before. You've experienced a lot of things over here. You know He's here. The moment you close the door behind you, you will feel God's presence like this. And then you start to understand how it is going to change your life. Because now when you meet with your family and you start, praying for food, sitting by the table, you won't start blessing people and praying for people around the world. No, I'm going to pray for food, because I did pray for everyone for hours. Then what's going to happen? You're going to go to your church, and you're not going to be there just to, search for the Spirit, waiting for the Lord. No, you're going to bring the Lord with you. Because you're going to be charged to that level that you're going to enter the church with the glory of God, because you spent so many hours with Him. You sorted every issue that you have in your life in your praying closet. Now is the time for glory. Now is the time for glorious, victorious church. Not for whining and, playing the victim. Oh, how hard my life is. Listen, that's why you're going to end up being in a church as a person who serves, not who needs to be served. You're not going to be there to recharge, because you're going to be there recharged to help recharge others and help them become more mature, to become like you. Person who understands that church starts and the life starts within your praying closet, not in a church. But everything that starts in you having your praying closet, being there with your Father day by day, the same time, prepared, having more time than you need, to give Him time to just be there with you and kind of answer every need that you have, and even more, take you to the places that you don't even know exist. So this is what I want you to take from this video. Stop praying and become meeting your Father. Give yourself time for a visitation, for the creator of this whole thing, who is your Father, who loves you so much, and He wants to give you more than you can even imagine. He'll have time to encourage you, to tell you that He loves you, spends time with you, just talk about things, laugh about stuff. And He will have time to correct you. He'll have time to discipline you. He'll have time to expand you, to test you, to explain you things, to teach you wisdom, to be smart. And at the end of the day, you will start to see that He's going to change you. And because He's going to change you, He's going to change the lives of everyone else who's having any relationship with you. Because you will become the kind of a transfer tool, this vessel of the glory that you get spending time with Him for hours. You'll be able to give it to everyone else, and it's going to be life-changing. So listen, think about it and do something about it. Because if you start to building your praying closet, you'll understand what is the difference in between being a Christian and starting walking with God. If you like this video, like, share, comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to do it for you. And that being said, see you tomorrow.